And welcome now to another Cliff's List webinar. And today I'm really excited to have Vince Kelvin and Arash Dibazar, who are, I guess, repeat webinar guests. And we had an absolutely fantastic response to the first interview that I did with them. And I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak with them again today. And you know, again, for anyone who hadn't watched the other ones or aren't familiar with them, I'm going to ask them both to give us a brief introduction about themselves. So, Rash, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about you and your, I guess, and your success with women and your history and all that.
Okay, well, thank you for having me on the show again. Hello to my spiritual brother Vince, Kelvin, and I think we're going to have to keep it in context of women probably, because I think my life is way beyond that. Women is an aspect of my life, very important aspect of my life, and what I would say for the viewers is, um, my life consists of what would look to many people as kind of a fantasy. I've had multiple girlfriends for a long time. I don't lie to women. I don't deceive them in any way, shape, or form. Everyone knows about everyone. My girlfriends are loyal to me. They're stunning in the way they look. They're also intelligent. They're very strong mentally. It's not like a bunch of bimbos. And when I say from the outside, it looks like a dream world, because I think this is something that we have this fantasy of, a man being with multiple women, beautiful women, and not only just my girlfriends. I have my girlfriends and I have other women, many other women, but the title of girlfriend is different. It's like I'm married to them, basically. They're my women. You know, they are. We have a huge future together. We create together versus going out and hanging out with women and hooking up with women. I do that also as a pickup and seduction artist. So I think that's fascinating for people, and how to get there, of course, is, I think, the beauty of it, the art form of it, is you would have to know a lot about communication, about female psychology, male psychology, and a lot more. And so that's what's exciting for me. And just like anything else, you know, when a person doesn't have money and they make a lot of money, at that moment they're in trouble, because they realize that they thought money was going to give them that happiness they wanted, and believe me, that's not going to do it. And when you don't have the car you want, you get it, it's not that. And in this case, I think there's only a handful of people on the planet that we know of that can have certain experiences with women. I am one of them, and I will tell you straight up from the bottom of my heart, although it's very glamorous and beautiful and incredible from the outside, when you're in it, as I am, it just doesn't matter anymore, and you find yourself going, this can't be everything, and you search for deeper understanding. And so that's where I'm at right now, and that's what I like to share. That's me, Arash, in the pickup and seduction world.
Okay, that's a good introduction. How about Vince? How about you tell us a little bit?
Well, first, once again, it's always a pleasure, Cliff. I know we go back a long way, and I witnessed the birth of Cliff's List, and you witnessed the birth of Vince Kelvin. And it's really a pleasure. You know, your contribution has always been tremendous to the field and so on. And, you know, I'm mesmerized by Arash lifestyle, and I think very few can ever understand the full extent of the magnificence of the achievements and the knowledge around it, and so on. So hopefully you guys will get at least a glimpse of it today. For me, I consider myself a wounded healer, you know, 360. I was there from the beginning of the pickup community, and I'm still going stronger than ever so far. I genuinely don't think that there's anyone who's got to stick with it and live it as I have and as I am. Where it's at, I view it as 360. You know, there's always a tendency in the world of the promise of the most, you know, you could get like bed any women that you want, and then the denial of struggle that are common to us all. I prefer the more subtle approach of knowing that as you go through life, it will be inevitable, for as long as you're straight, to have to deal with women. And the seasons are going to vary. There's going to be, you know, for a lot of guys that are starting in life, they have the drive, they have youth, but they're also crippled under insecurities, and that's not fair to themselves. So to remove those insecurities, because they are illusions and we buy into them for a period of time. There's going to be time when you're with someone, when you're not with someone. There's going to be breakups that I call free up. And eventually there's going to be all those seasons, the process of passing through life. And I want to be of assistance at a level that's 360. I always come back to pick up. You know, I've been encouraged by some women. You know, I was married 5 times to let that concept go. But for me, that's the essence, because it starts with picking up yourself. You got to seduce yourself into your potential and capacity and what's possible for you. So it really starts with your inner dealing with yourself, your relationship with yourself. And then the essence of my system has always been, whatever women will toss at you, whatever happens within your own mind or around you, in the environment, other people coming into the play and so on, you got to bring it back to one thing: utilize so you can arise, you can escalate. And I think that's a phenomenal concept that will also bring you success in all other aspects of your life. And I'm really psyched. The best is to come. And
Totally.
that's it for me. So
Yes, I mean, that's a very interesting, quick introduction. You've been married 5 times. You said it all in the past, so I assume that the 5th one is over at this point. But maybe I'm wrong. And I guess I'm curious, where is the, you know, I know that Vince, I believe your relationships have been open as well. So I'm curious, where is there any difference, or that how you look at the multiple relationships compared to Arash, or you're more or less on the same page?
I think we're a wonderful polarity. I specialize in the pickup aspect, and we both do extremely well at both. And Rush will seduce. He's achieved the most remarkable demonstration of seduction through time. But we're an amazing combination. You know, you got to witness the synergy of what happens when we're in field together. We were just in Las Vegas, and once again the magic was at play. But I will let Arash answer.
I'm answering for you whether you're still fifth married, because that was
That part. No, that part. The 5th marriage was what? It's been. I've been freed up for a year and a half since that. You know, I've been freed up. Yet the one thing that I want to say to help the guys right away, my thinking behind it has always been, you know, most guys can either go through it and look back on their life and think, wow, I never got married, and I never got to slice the cake and do those silly things. Or some could say, well, I did, and why did I do that? So I'm an adventurer. I would not do it this way currently, but at the time, it was great to know that I could also cover that option. So that's for that.
And Arash?
What would you like to know, sir?
Well, I guess one thing I'm very curious about, and I guess Vince alluded to it, is, you know, we can't see it, but can you give us a little bit more of an insight into how you guys work together when you're training guys?
Yeah. Well, okay. I love this question, because first of all, we love what we do. So it's obvious when we get together that we're both excited about doing what we're doing. Secondly, there's a synergy that gets created. Like when Vince is talking, he'll trigger a bunch of thoughts in my head, or I'm talking, I'll trigger thoughts in his head. So it kind of like starts at a base level. For example, Vince and I are doing an event March 24th in LA. And we're both going to arrive on the scene ready to go. Everything I'm doing right now is preparing for that. Everything he's doing is preparing. So when we arrive at a certain level. Then one of us starts talking or picking up or something. And immediately it's like chemistry. You put this chemical and you touch the other chemical with it, it starts to bubble up. So whoever goes first, the other one starts going. And then by the end of the event, it's just picked up so much power and energy because we arrive with one thing and we get that out of the way as soon as possible. Like within the first 30 minutes, most of the time we're done with everything we were going to bring because we're rushing to now do the new thing that's taking place in the moment. In the moment, we're seeing things. In the moment, when we're going out and having a conversation or watching each other talk, it's triggering ideas. So suddenly, what you arrive with the suitcase of teachings needs to all be let out so that you can hurry up and talk about the new things that are happening. So that's in the teaching aspect, and it's fun. It's exciting. In regards to going out and picking up, you know, I've had the privilege of being around some of the highest, greatest ever in the community of pickup artists, and some of these people are truly amazing. Some names: Mystery is amazing, Matador amazing, Discovery amazing. What's I've been with? Hypnotica amazing, and these people are truly masters of pickup. And I've been out with all of them, and I've gamed with all of them, and it's been so much fun. And then when Vince and I go out, shit, how would you even describe this? It would be like, analogy would be like, you have an eagle and you have a lion, and they both go hunting, but they're on the same team. And the eagle is the master of the sky. Nothing can touch it. And it knows, this eagle knows its limitations. Like, it's not going to run on the ground and start chasing animals, and it's definitely not going to go swim in the water. It's going to stay up 10,000 feet, and from up there, notice the prey and come down. And the lion knows his domain. But imagine if they teamed up and they could communicate telepathically. And the eagle said to the lion, hey, from up here, over there, there's a group of gazelles. And the lion said, oh, I smell them. And so then they move together, and the hunt happens like this. And there's no chance. There's no chance. I think that when you put Vince and I together, one of my favorite things that happens is if there are celebrities in that environment, it's just a matter of a short amount of time before they approach us and we become the celebrities. I think that Vince's look, my look, and the way we carry ourselves when we walk in, it's a normal thing, whether we're going through a hotel or a restaurant or just walking the streets, for people to stop us and say, can we take a picture? Are you guys somebody? Are you a band? Are you a movie star? And that's just fun, man. And our skills are our skills. And I think if you see Vince pick up, if you see myself pick up, up until him and I came together, there was always this idea, should it be direct or indirect? You know, do you tell the girl how you feel? Do you not? And it's always been, it doesn't matter. You just get the girl. These are different strategies, right? But when you see Vince and I, it's beautiful because then you see the contrast. And at the same time, you see the similarities, but the results speak for themselves. And in the end, everybody has a good time. Like, everybody has a good time. So we go out, we do our shit, and we're dead tired by the end of it because we don't fucking hold back. So 2 days later, we normally try to meet up and have a conversation. Like, oh, I'll meet you at, like, you know, last time I think it was 10 p.m. or something, and 11 Vince showed up and he had just woken up and I was ready to go to sleep at that point. So, and we picked up at that moment too. So it's just fun, and it's highly skilled. It's like watching Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson on the same team. You know, one's this, one's that. It's like watching Muhammad Ali and fucking Mike Tyson go beat somebody up. It's like, how cool, you know, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. Like, how cool would it be to see two people at the top of the field, Mozart and Beethoven, are going to play music together? Well, Vince and Arash are going to go out and teach or go pick up or just go fucking eat. You want to be there and you want to fucking be ready to listen, observe. So, yeah, that's it. That's how I feel about it. I think I'm more excited than speaking clearly, but hey, read the excitement. That's it.
And I love those moments when we decide initially, because they're so rare. We spend so much time teaching, expanding, stretching the envelope, creating, that in the end, we very rarely get to just sit and talk. And
Yeah.
yet every time we decided in the past we were going to do that, then magic happens. Like it's like pickup is inevitable. I recall this time here in Hollywood where we said like, okay, we just grab a meal, or same thing in Las Vegas, and we're not gonna do pickup. And the next thing we know, we're at my place and we pulled some girls up. So
Absolutely. Always.
yeah,
You know, I really get that the chemistry and the spontaneity is on steroids with you two guys. But uh, you know, maybe you could give me a specific example of something, you know, of what you're describing.
Yeah, I'll give you tons of examples. I'll pick one of my favorite stories, and Vince can pick one of his favorite stories. I think there's all these moments. They all go into one category in my mind. When I go, okay, Vince and Arash moments, and there's so many of these. So if I just grab one, Vince and I were we walked into. It's by your place. It was that fucking sushi place. I was hungry. You asked me if I wanted sushi. So we walked into the sushi place, and it's very upper class, you know, and I actually felt like I wasn't dressed right for the occasion at the time. And we're kind of looking around. There's attractive women there. And these two girls walk by, these 2-3 girls, and I just reached for her drink very slowly as I was talking to Vinci. And she's looking at me, and I grabbed her drink and started bringing it to my lips. And she said, you're not really gonna drink my drink. And I drank it, and I gave it back to her. And she said, my God, you just drank my drink. I said, yeah, it's pretty good. And then she went back and sat down. And later I went and I got their phone numbers, but then here's where the chemistry was. So then I went to Vince and I was like, okay, Vince, like I can get this girl, but I'm gonna need help on the logistics of how we take these girls to your place tonight. And I said, I don't know how to fucking do this. So I said, I'm gonna get them to come. I said, I'm gonna go grab them from the table. I'll bring them here. I'll do the whole comfort thing, make them more comfortable. I said, then I'm gonna hand it over to you, because I know that if it's left up to me, there's a smaller chance of us hanging out later. I know for sure in a week or two, I got this woman, no problem. I said, but do you mind you just take it over? He was like, oh yes, no problem at all. I was like, good, because to me, that was a problem actually. And so I brought them over. We all interacted, pictures, this and that. Then we ended up from there to the W. Then we ended up at Vince's place. But at that moment, Vince was telling me, I remember walking up the stairs, he was like, he said, well, we're going to ask them to come in and take a look at the place just for a brief moment. And he was telling me what to do. And for me, this was really cool because I don't go out to just meet a woman and take her home. You know, I create a life with a person, and I know I can do that, no problem. But it's a process. So if it was left up to me, I would have gotten the phone number. I would have had a great interaction, maybe a makeout, and a couple of trips later in Los Angeles, the girl would probably be worshiping the ground I walk on. But that wasn't, I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to learn. So basically, I handed over to Vince, then went to the W, and then we just ran the place over there for a while. And I killed it there. Vince killed it there, and then I just handed it over to him, and we ended up in the room, and the rest is history. That was really cool for me because I got to see my strength with his strength, and also my weakness I got to observe, and why it's important to have someone there. So it was an incredible night. I remember we went to the W. We just killed it. It was like I don't know. I call it shutting down the house or shutting down the place where everyone is looking at you. It doesn't matter. Everybody's looking. Everyone's watching. All tables are turned, observing you, and you're the rock star. So that's one of the memories in my head. I'll pass it on to Vince.
You know, I think also one thing that's really unique in that we have in common, Arash and I, is that we get so excited about the newest discovery that we cannot contain them, and the amount of value that's given. You know, there's always been other people in the community that would come to me throughout the years and say, hey, a YouTube clip should just be 3 minutes. It's a teaser. And I'm like, I'm not here to tease the guys. I'm here to tease chicks, but not the guys, not our guys, you know, maximum value. Or they would say, whoa, you know, that concept that you shared on this podcast, you could break that down into like a 20 DVD program or a membership program. And that's all good. But, you know, there's that urge to just like expose the most recent discovery and so on. So to honor the guys watching, I want to give you just a sense of the deeper structure, the common ground, the place where we come together and we operate. So in all those moments, there is initially, I think, an intensity because we're both going through our own lives in a way where we play full out. Okay, I know it seems basic in our own way. So there is the intensity. There's a sense of like something amazing is about to happen. This is the peak of where I have been. Okay, that's why we're in the lead because it's constantly topping it, topping it, topping it, and we encourage each other and all the students and all those who come to partake in to do the same. That synergy effect is not only between Arash and I think it starts to spread, and then you see guys that didn't even know what they could do to start to do it. The peculiarity of those most recent events like Global SLR last year was to turn around and see the students in action faster than we've ever witnessed it. So from that place, there is also total freedom, meaning we've done it at times where both of us would genuinely be at a place where we're tired or I'm hungry. I don't necessarily feel like that, but the difference is that we don't view that as something that should hold you back. It's normal. So from there we can blossom. While other guys may be, oh man, I'm not in state, or I didn't know we're gonna go out. I didn't know, I don't like that kind of place. I don't go there. I'm not dressed the part. I've never been there. I'm here by myself. So that's not an issue. And then there's, which is the biggest part, and that one will really take time. It's an ongoing study, but there's a dynamic, a social dynamic that, you know, any time that you're out there trying to get, you start to depend on others and your own environment. So we would quickly see it. The other guys, they enter the place and they start to look. They start to look for something. Us, we're being looked at while we're aware of what's happening. So, but we're more present with ourselves. We're not absent with the world, but that presence creates a vortex. We both have looks that are absolutely surreal. I was just on the phone with Arash yesterday, and we both got casted in an upcoming Hollywood movie where just because of the characters that we are. And from there, after that, there's the chops and the mechanics, and we're like, you know, it's I know Arash is the martial artist. I am not, but it's almost like mixed martial arts. You know, it's that direct, indirect. We all have our own specialty and the balance, and there's that arising. So that time, for example, when we got to, by the time we got to my place, the thing that I always do in my sexualization model, I don't go for an either or. So you have two types of guys. You have the pushy one that's going to go, come on, guys, come upstairs, come on, come on. Or you have the guy that is going to think, oh, it's not happening, and wait. So I know that it's happening. We have both that knowingness because we've been through it so many times. But at the same time as I know that it's happening, I give you the sense that it may or may not happen, you know, enticing them. So a lot of wording like, oh, you know, if we had more time, it'd be fun. We could show you upstairs. But I mean, you know, my place is a little bit of a mess. Why don't we at least go see the view? And it's done in a way that's organic because that's also the place where we live at, you know. At first, guys may get a sense of that, but they fake it. A lot of traditional game is a little fake. It's like the guy is craving for the girl to text him. He keeps on looking at his phone, but he's like, oh, that bitch, she's not texting back. I'm going to do a takeaway. But he's not taking it away fully because he's still completely dependent on whether or not she's going to respond. But us, I love to encourage you guys. You have to live your life where you're at a place where it'd be wonderful to fuck this girl right now, but it'd be equally wonderful if it doesn't happen. I'm free. I got the edge because she's bound to one of the two, but she's not open to both. So anyway, that's happening. I'm starting to be excited, and I'll pass it back to you, Cliff. What else can we talk about?
Well, let me. I'm curious a lot about how you two work together with clients. Like, for example, if you have a guy that comes to see you, and I know you're going to have obviously a big range of issues that they have. I mean, you know, if you get a guy, for example, who's very shy, You get a guy who maybe he's just advanced, but he's got certain issues, certain sticking points. Maybe can't close, or some other issue. I'm just curious how you work together on various issues that come up.
Well, let's talk about what has been happening here with Vince and I. Um, Pickup is different now. It's not what it was, and I take a lot of responsibility for it because I came from a world where I never hid who I was, ever. And so I didn't understand when people were like, "Don't say you're a pickup artist," or "I was proud. Hey, I'm a pickup artist. This thing's fucking cool." And I realized the difference was that in my background in life, it had always been to try to build yourself as a character. Like, this is the game of life, and this is the character Arash. Hello, say hi to him. To build this character so that it would be an evolved individual. I wanted to be a superhero. So everything I studied, I would study from that aspect of a martial arts master or a superhero, or somebody who could, you could say, awe the crowd. I know it's kind of funny, but that's actually what was driving me. Like, wow, look at, he could withstand the wind or break through walls or run faster than everybody or hold his breath for 10 minutes, shit like that. And so for myself, it was like, okay, I'm not trying to be like everybody else. I'm trying to be different, and I want to show my uniqueness. And at the same time, I want to show why my uniqueness is a sense of strength, not weakness. Okay. So guys come to us. One thing we're doing is we're saying, look, pickup is actually easy. It's not that difficult. There's let's go over some basics that everybody should know, okay? If you are so interested in touching her, and the touching her means so much to you, like even if you're a man right now, Cliff, let's say you were sitting here and I was here, and I very slowly kind of reached for your hand like this. And I was looking at your hand, you'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I just wanted to see your ring. Like, okay, well, you're being creepy. Even if you did that to my dog, he would bite you. Like, what are you doing? That's creepy, dude. So, touching someone should just be casual, as a matter of fact, like we're talking. But if you're here and I'm just tap your hand with you, no problem. So that's a move. Any human being can learn that if you go weird and creepy and look at it versus you just nonchalantly touch, no problem, that's a move you can do. That's like a note in the piano or something, right? A note in the song. Good. Now watch this. That's the objective, the outside, how we view you do this, or your body language, leaning in versus leaning back, or speaking clearly. These are all visible to everybody. If you whisper quietly, nobody can hear you, versus if you have a good posture and speak well, and if you smile versus you grimace, the basics, the outside. But everybody can go read the outside. It's simple. Google it. What's the best way to touch a woman to make her feel comfortable? What's the best way to approach a woman with body language? Man, we're in Google age, 2017. That information is easy. Here's the problem. And here's where Vince and I come together. We both recognize that in order for you to not touch her creepy, you have to have an internal process that is comfortable inside, because you can't fool her. Him and I, you know what we don't do? We don't try to fool anybody. I have a rule that says this. Everybody can always tell when I'm lying. That's it. I've been living with this rule for 20-something years now, okay? I don't try to lie because I think people can see it. So instead of trying to hide intention, I want my intention to be clear, open. So how do we work together? We look at the student, we see what the problem is, and like two doctors, and let's say if one was a neuroscientist and the other one was a hypnotist, and they both would know something about the mind and the brain, but they would be in different fields but working on the same subject. So they would come and look at a subject, and one would hook up the subject's brain and the other one would talk to them. And these two then were colleagues, and they were like, well, look at his brain when you say that to him. Look at what happens. And he'd be like, oh my God, yeah, And then we show the student their internal process, but better than that, him and I can demonstrate it. So we can say this, like I can clearly say to someone, well, look, what's the opener that doesn't work, in quotes? And he's like, well, I mean, how do you say is kissing cheating? Everyone knows that. I'd be like this, excuse me. Hi. My friend and I were just having a conversation. This seems to be a question that everybody's asking these days. You may have already heard it. Do you consider kissing cheating? In your opinion, is it cheating or not? And the student's like, wow, well, that seems so natural. Pickup is natural. Anything is natural once you're good at it. You know, driving my car is natural. Speaking English is natural. I didn't know how to speak English before. I learned it as a second language, and I drove a car when I was 16 years old, right? So Vince and I, we take a look at the internal process, and we have a model ourselves that we can check against. And since there's two of us, sometimes my model will fit better. Sometimes his model will fit better. Or sometimes a student's been working with me for 3-4 years and is stuck somewhere. And all he needs is another model like his, like Vince's, I'm pointing to the camera, and he'll go, oh, now I get it, because he has something to compare against. So for example, what they used to say, Vince will walk up to a girl, my darling. I'm doing this, but I can't really do it. You know what I mean? Your hair. I have to say hi now. You look at in the way I do it. That strategy is not my strategy. I do the complete 180. Complete 180. I just don't even pay attention to her, and I get her to say something to me. Check this out, okay? Check this out. A student will see both of us with totally different strategies in the field together getting girls. And now their brain goes, what do I do? I say, look, sometimes you have to do it that way. Sometimes you have to do it this way. So when Vince and I walk down Hollywood, Vince probably gets 5 or 6 phone numbers and 3 makeouts by the time we go from the fucking juice place to his house. And Arash Dibazar doesn't even say hi to a girl walking down the street. So, wow, Arash, I thought you were like one of the greatest pickup artists on the planet. Bro, I am, trust me. Well, how come you're not opening any sense? Because I'm a shark in the water, not a shark on the land. That's not my area. But my brother right there is very good at it. And when I'm with him, he can talk to a girl and I can walk right in and grab her friend and the whole fucking community. I'll grab the whole block of street because I can use his interaction to open the whole fucking street, you see? But I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. So I don't walk around and try to compete with Vince. I admire him. I stand back when he picks up and he sees me. I just wait there, let him do his interaction. I observe and we go forward. Oh, that's fucking cool. So a student needs to see that because he has this idea like, I have to talk to everyone. Well, I don't. Arash, are you going to open sets when we go down? Nope, I'm not. Really? And I'm not insecure. I'm not a bad pickup artist. I'm one of the greatest that ever lived. But that's not what I do. Then we go somewhere else, and I've seen Vince. I think it was at the strip club. I was talking to him. Vince said, brother, I'm going to sit back and watch you. I said, go ahead. I'm in my element now. Watch me just run the strip club like a fucking rock star. And I did. So the student, you said how we help him, gets to see 2 different dynamics that are not fighting each other. I'm not going, well, he shouldn't show so much interest, and he should, and he's not going, well, Arash didn't open anybody up walking down the street. It's a mutual admiration, which allows the art form to grow and allows the student to view suddenly a panoramic view instead of a tunnel view and go, oh, shit, you mean I can actually choose? Yeah, because all we're doing is we're doing our own personalities and augmenting and amplifying what's good in us and getting rid of what's bad in us. And since I'm one person, he's another person, it's going to be a little bit different. But what you need to look for is what is in common. Students normally like to ask, how come Vince does that, how come Arash does that? And we always repeat the same thing to them. Stop worrying about what's different about us. Find out what's the same, because that's what's working. What's different is just the uniqueness of the individual, the environment we were brought up in, and what we're comfortable in. I'll pass on to you, Vince.
So when we get together, what we bring to the students, I think that the community has been crippled for a long time because a teacher will only be able to take you as far as they have gone. And many are those who will just say, well, you know, that may not work for you because it didn't work for them. So as a social scientist, as a sexual adventurer, along with the gratification and the pleasure received in the moment, I've always wanted to also expose myself to as many situations as possible. So whomever might be in that situation, I can say, hey, I feel your pain. I understand your struggle. Here's the solution. I've been in the same fucking situation, not once, not 5 times, hundreds of times. You know, if any man right now who's going through a divorce was to come to me and say, all right, it's over, what do I do? I would say, no problem. I got a system. We'll get you back like in no time. So it's more unbound. And then the solidity that Arash brings. You know, one thing that really, really amazed me initially is when we started to have a mutual exchange of students. You know, when we joined forces, those who had been like Vince Kelvin suddenly got to be exposed to Arash if they had not been before, and vice versa. I've noticed that the students coming from Arash's side were a whole new breed of fine young gentlemen and men of all ages that already had a stronger acquired foundation at the level of coming at it stronger, not so needy, not so shaky, not so like, my problem is, you know, they were like, okay, I'm ready to learn. What do I do? Cool, come to the event. And that fascinated me. And what I realized is that there's a transfer that is automatic because frames always come first. Too many try to fix falseness or market it. You know, I come from the time before anyone ever thought of labeling what happens when you want to approach, but part of you thinks of why you should not, and you're not really comfortable in your body. Before the time somebody goes, that's called approach anxiety. Okay, like right there, let's curse the entire fucking community. Let's give the weaker one now an excuse. Let's put a label, and now let's milk that. You want to get rid of your approach anxiety? I don't say get rid of your approach anxiety, because you cannot get rid of something that is misunderstood initially. Okay, and it's going to be a fluctuation and so on. So Arash's frames of mind are so potent, and his understanding of the feminine, that's what allows him, you know, I'm still in awe. I've had the harems and so on, but my rendition of it has always been something that could be a reality show, like with crazy chicks fighting that bitch and so on. And when I witness a glimpse of the dedication that Arash's girls have towards him, how really like devoted they are in a way that's organic and in which they can grow. I'm just like, wow, you know. And the example of the strip club too, you know, you arrive in a strip club and then you have those like big shot rappers with Rolls Royce outside who shyly come tap on Arash's shoulder, and they go like they're all gangsters, and they go like, excuse me, who are you? And the girls gravitate, and all rules are violated. So there's that transfer that comes from Arash where the bar is raised. And I've seen some guys that I would know that for years would be like, yeah, and suddenly they listen to Arash and magic happens. So then we also, you know, you cannot help others if you feel too dependent on helping them. At the same time, you also have to have a deeper sense of sympathy and appreciation for the struggles of others. Now, struggle is inevitable, but a lot of people try to minimize it by staying comfortable. And yet, when every day you decide to grow, to stretch the envelope as the teacher, okay, as the model that we follow, then automatically they're going to be struggle, and that struggle brings you a new sympathy for the guys. Even maybe the story wasn't identical, but the struggle is similar. And then make no mistake, I think the next aspect which we implement now more than ever is that too many assume that they're broken and they don't have a chance with women when they have qualities that are they're unaware of. They're unaware. And it's a knack to be able to spot qualities. And at first the guy goes like, really? Is that a compliment? But no, it's not a compliment. You do have that genuine quality already. So let's strengthen that. Focus on your strength as well. And then the mechanics, you know, you do something long enough, have it down to a science. It's easy to complicate, especially a guy who's trying to do it on his own. So our mechanics are as sharp as can be, and you never know what next piece you're gonna get. You know, the example of so many guys always struggle with girls saying they have to go, and that challenge is increasing because in this day and age we're so busy, we always have to go. So, oh shit, you know, it was going so well. I was doing so well, but then her friend said I have to go, or the friend coming in, or a guy coming in. With one word, I resolved this and turned it into a kiss close or a number close. So much more could be said, but I think you get an idea by now.
I just wanted to add, I think the question, the best answer, because we gave ours, but I truly think, Cliff, the best answer is you find some of our students who've been coming to our events and you ask them this question. What is it about Arash and Vince that is so powerful? You see that? Because they would know. And I think that, you know what I mean? I realized as we were saying it, the person who should be asked is the person who's paying for it, event after event after event, going through changes. They would know what makes us special together. Vince and I, we enjoy doing what we're doing. Since we came together, we changed the whole face of this community. We've put so many people on the map, and we've taken some people off the map, you know, as they should have been taken off. You know, there's an event happening tomorrow in New York. I have a lot to do with that event. There's names like Brian Casella, like Pablo, like Yogi Chris. There's coaches now that are doing things. There's Satori Pue. There's these guys that we've known for a long time, and we gave them and are giving them a platform, something that was never given to me, and I'm sure Vince. I had to fight for the fucking platform. I had to like claw my way into that damn thing, you know, while the old guys were trying to get rid of me. Vince and I, we don't have a jealousy. What we want is we want the community to grow. We want people to be responsible, and we want the students to benefit. And it's fine, you know, so we keep putting new people, and it's fascinating because people actually try to come up, people meeting coaches. And one of the things that happens, it's almost like the council is getting created where Vince and I get approached by different groups that are big groups in the community that say, hey, so-and-so wants to plug a product. Are you guys okay with it? And I think that's a beautiful form of respect because that respect is being given, not being asked for. Knowing that if Vince and I put our name on somebody, we believe in that person, you know? So it's the question should be asked of our students, and I would love to hear what they have to say too. That would be a great question to see what is it that when we came together makes it better than just one person at a time. That's all.
Well, you know, I don't think that there's much question about what makes you guys special. You sort of carry it with you. I was more curious about what you actually do to the student to help them over their issues specifically.
Okay, very good. So let's go over a specific issue, right? The student says, hey, here's the situation. I was talking to a girl. This is something happened in Vegas. I was talking to a girl, and it was going well, and then she suddenly turned cold. I say, okay, listen, I wasn't there. Based on what you're saying, it's like if you tell the doctor I have 103 fever and I got blisters on my arm. Probably this, but I need more data. So I said, well, okay, tonight, come out, let's see what's up. So at night, I saw him, and I saw what happened. He was too needy. He was all over her. And so I walked up to him and I said, listen, this is the time where you back off. And true to form, he didn't listen, which is what happens normally, right? So I didn't push it. I came and I sat down. A little bit later, the girl started to give the weird body language, right? So then he came back and he said, man, I said, listen, bro, here's the thing. You're too needy right there. And I showed him you're touching too much. Back off. And then I said, look at Vince. Because at that very moment, he was talking to an Oriental girl that I remember, pretty hot over there. And he was talking to her. And I said, watch his body as he touches her. Watch him back off of her. Watch him turn his back to her. Watch him get engaged with some other activity suddenly as if something else took his attention. I said, you were 100% on her like a fucking microscope. And she started to feel that. I said, now watch. So we sat back and we watched Vince move through it. He went through it. The next day in the lecture, he brought up the situation and I said to him, listen, here's the thing. When you are talking to her, there's this idea that you're doing something to her. You're saying this so that she feels that. You're doing this so that she feels that. I said, you got to look inside, because when I'm talking to her, I'm not trying to do anything to her. I'm trying to get to know who this individual is. Because if I'm going to have sex with somebody, if I'm going to invite someone into my life, I need to find out who the fuck the person is. I said, and so that transfers differently. And I stopped, and Vince jumped right in, and he started to explain his perspective on the same subject. So this is how we teach it. We do it in field, then we comment on something. When I finish commenting, he jumps on, or he finishes commenting, I jump on and give the same teaching from a different perspective. That's what comes to my mind, Vince. I don't know if you have any exact examples. I actually thought my example was better before I spoke it. Then I spoke it, I said, what the fuck's happening? It's fizzling. It's fizzling. But hey, I went with it.
Well, here's what comes to mind. You know, when we were in Vegas, there was this instance when, and I know you've been, Cliff, I saw you there in Vegas some prior years, the AVN and so on. I remember see you walking with those two girls. That was pretty awesome. And there was this instance where there was such a violation. Suddenly arrives a porn star that's getting the attention of everybody. And I said one thing to her in that context where, you know, some of the girls are charging $5 to have their picture taken, and all the guys are just drooling. You've seen the context. And she pushes me, and she sat on my face, and she pussy face fuck me in front of security, in front of the DJ, in front of the waitresses, in front of hundreds of AFCs who pulled out their phones to film it. So it seemed like magic, but the real magic was knowing what was the one thing that would be a catalyst to create all those other things. So with students, I can tell you more, but I like to chunk it that way. Number one, you cannot transmit what you don't have. So they arrive in an environment where the experience is happening so strongly, the radiance is there, plus including the distinction that we don't know it only as possible for us, we know it as possible for them more than they know it. So the first thing that the guys experience is a rising of energy, and then we layer on top of that a greater awareness of who they are. Remove the falseness. You bought into an idea of yourself that is false. It is not who you are. So identity, there's a shift in identity. There's a shift in terms of what I'm capable of and what's possible. Then by seeing the responses, and we don't even have to yet be in field, but by noticing, I like to go down to the core of the wiring and start to give gold nuggets so the person can have a new sense and a new experience. At the level of mechanics, it's essential, you know, there's some rewiring, a lot of 180. Again, most guys, even though they have understood that they have to be more high value, it's still polluted because they are still honoring the woman more than themselves. So a 180 change in frame. It's not about, is this girl going to like me? What can I do to get her? It's more about, is this the right thing for me? To honor that. And the system, I refine it. So we see guys like the most rewarding experience at the global SLR of all the I know you started the concept of the convention, and then we came in with the PUA World Summit, and then so many did big, small convention. You know, it got diluted, and then we brought back the global SLR. And that most recent global SLR, we sat outside on the last day to witness the guys and what they had achieved in just one weekend. And on Saturday, we gave them the gift of being at a Hollywood nightclub, and they had access to the VIP room, but also the main room. And I had guys with cameras and photographers, and I told them, okay, grab the students when they're with girls. And of course, it was so packed I was not able to supervise everybody. There were all the other coaches and so on. And then came time to come home, and the photographers gave me the little cards, and I couldn't believe what I witnessed. It was like, wow, you know, it was pictures after pictures of footage of the students. I was like, I'm so happy for them. I'm so proud of them.
Earlier on, Arash, you mentioned that when you do pickup, in a way, it's you're sort of creating a life with a woman, and that's a more longer process. I wanted you to tell me a little bit more about that approach, and then I just wanted to ask Vince if he has a sort of underlying sort of theme or philosophy that he applies in a similar way, which obviously seems to be more on an immediate pickup structure, though.
Yeah. To be clear, to be fair to my own skills, I don't, you know, okay. It is very easy for me to walk up to a woman many times with one word or no words, make out with her like that, and I've done it more than once. I think Vince has seen it a couple of times. So that's not an issue. Okay, it's not an issue. But what I mean by when I say that is my pickup, as is Vince and everybody else's, is an embodiment of my belief system, of my values. That's what makes it so powerful. And I am fascinated beyond, I am enthralled by a mind of another individual. This is potent in a social dynamic situation. This is why I got so good at this thing. Like, I find my joy in your head, if that makes any sense. I explore your universe. And when I meet a woman, she opens the door to her reality for me. It's a sense of freedom to get out of your own narrow viewpoint and see the world through somebody else's point of view. For me, it's like a nirvana, you could say, when I meet somebody. And in order to create that experience that I just said, right, and make it keep going, that's what I want. I want it to keep exploding. I want a nirvana again. It's like a climax again and again mentally, right? Then what I need to do is to keep seeing the woman and observe my ideas enter her world and disintegrate her illusions and her barriers to life. This is, I swear on my life, this is what I do. And this is why women are addicted to me, and why I could make men addicted to me too. And my students are. You know, I'm that guy that they try to attack and say he's a cult leader. I'm like, well, you act like, first of all, I'm not. Let's just get that out in the fucking open. But secondly, you act like you just talked about chewing gum. Right? If it's that fucking easy, you go be a fucking cult leader. Secondly, if you ever say that shit about me, what are you saying about the intelligent people that are following? You're calling them a bunch of fucking morons. And I'll bet you my fucking students are more intelligent than any hater who ever fucking hated on me, right? So that shit just dies. But there's a reason why they say that, is because this devotion that people give me, because when I talk to a person, what turns me on, like on every cellular level, is to see my ideas enter their world and make changes and disintegrate their barriers. I do this all the time. And so with a woman, it's so exciting because she's beautiful and she's got all her defenses up, and every guy is trying to get at her. And by me just talking to her that night, she thinks I'm trying to fuck her, and I probably am. Here we go. It's what a game, what a video game, what a challenge, what a test of skill. So now when I say I try to get her in my life, because look, I made a reputation. People know me because I had fucking 12 women following me like the fucking apostles of Jesus. I had 6 fucking girlfriends that had my name tattooed on their body, and I put the video up. that was fucking cool. I wasn't wealthy. I just got a little bit of money recently, but I was broke when that was happening. I wasn't good looking. I'm just becoming good looking, but I had the skills to make these women just, what the fuck is this guy doing? And yet he's got fuck you on his eyes, and he seems to say whatever the fuck he wants, and he seems like a dickhead or not. Okay, so when I say I try to get a woman in my life, is because it's like every single woman is a testament of my skill and my abilities in life. I don't want to waste her on a one night and no one hears of her. I wanted to go on Facebook, if you go on my Facebook, and write these big poems about how incredible I am, and I have only talked to her once. I want to take the text that she gives me and put it up, and she says, thank you, you're the most incredible thing that ever happened. I love you, and I've never, ever physically seen this woman before, besides on Facebook. We've only texted. Now that right there, she adds to my world, and I get to demonstrate that I'm not the lion, I'm not the bear, I'm not the jaguar, but I know what I am. And when an animal knows what he is, he stops competing with the other animals, and he starts just shining his own feathers. And so I say, look, I'm not trying to be the toughest guy. I'm not trying to be the baddest guy. I'm just being me. But I've found my niche, which is women will fall madly in love with me to a point where I have to back up because I have to check my ethics at that point. You know what I mean? And so that's why I do it the way I do it, because for me to just waste it on sex, I don't need sex. I have girlfriends. I have my hand. Worst case if ever fucking needed. It's not that important. But what is important is that every woman I interact with, if I give her a piece of me, I need her to stick around to tell the world what a piece of me feels like when it enters somebody else's world. And just talking about this shit makes me want to go pick up people right now. So that's what I do.
Vince?
Yeah, so I start with an example. A client came to see me the other day, and the guy was operating, he's really successful in his own life, but he was operating from a model where he thought, okay, the first thing I need to do is to kind of define what kind of woman I want. And then once I know what kind of woman I want, I'm going to go and I'm going to get her. The problem with this model is that how can you define what you want until you have it? So that could work if we said, hey, we need a new phone charger. It's that model. Let's go to the store. Let's go get it. So for me, the process of pickup helps me to become more aware of what I want. And even if a guy was to say, I'm not interested in having like that many girls around me, you will do better in finding a girl that meets your need by finding first what are your needs. And you're not going to find that in your head. You're not going to find it on paper. It may help you to write distinctions. So it's always been for me, every woman brings me a gift. Every woman will show me a little bit more of what I dislike and what I like. If I'm in the elevator and I'm all bubbly and I make a comment and the girl goes, okay, then I go, wow. I'm not really interested in a human being who in that moment, a brief moment, I mean, the girl could turn around and go, don't you dare fucking talking to me. My husband is going to hate this. That I would say, oh my God, bravo, that's rich. But the best you can do while being exposed to another human being is that, So I know that is not my cup of tea. And then maybe I'm having a little conversation with someone, and in that moment, the woman makes a gesture that I find rather interesting, and through time, I figure out more and more of what I want. There's the challenge also, and that's for everybody, because here, Arash and I, we're bringing a global revolution at the level of redefining sex, love, romance, and what are your options. But what options in a world that's so evolved in so many ways? The options given are still pretty much the same, So I like to find out what are some other models. How can a person be successful? So for me, I don't have the chops that Arash has to build that I don't want to give it names because he only can define it. But to have those women fully functional, working and so on. I enjoy time by myself, and I have a mission. I'm a lover of life, and I love the aspect of truly unconditional love and appreciation. I'm of a very artistic sensitivity that makes me want for people to be able to reach each other at a little bit of a deeper level without being affected by it. So the model that works well for me is, first and foremost, experience comes from experiences. So I want as many experiences as possible, not only because of the newness element, which is part of what men look for. Men, we are. I heard this French singer the other day say, "Men, we are designed to go look behind the next hill to see what is there." So I know that part of the thrill for me is I don't know who the next one's gonna be, and I don't know when exactly it's going to be, but there she is, and the rush of that is often more that what we're after. And then you take that in your work, you take that rush, you feel like a man, you're growing. And then we have different needs. So I think the next part of the model is also, there's places where we know we can provide. Okay. One of the reasons, if you're listening to this and you're not currently homeless, is because you know that in the worst case, you can always get a job, get your way back up, and manifest something. And there you do not doubt this. If right now you're very thirsty, you know that in the worst case, you have nothing to drink at home. You can always find a store, even if it's after hours, it's going to be a gas station somewhere that's still open, and boom, there is your bottle of water. And you know you have the power to provide for yourself. But you doubt yourself at the level of providing pussy for yourself. And pussy, you crave it, and pussy, you love it, but you also been bound by that idea of, yeah, but it's bad, and so on. So I want to break all boundaries in terms of what's such a big deal. Relax, it's only sex. All communities are more accepted in the world. So your own choices, whatever they are, whatever your choices, okay, you should not doubt them, and you should not care if they're accepted or not, and you should accept that it is you. Okay, and you should also accept that many are going to dislike it, and that's fine. They're entitled to that. So the next aspect, then, I know I can provide for my needs, and I think that genuinely, gentlemen, it is one of the greatest rewards. And I speak maybe for myself, but I'm sure that it is the case for others, to know that you can. It's not always about getting the girl. It's to know that, okay, in the worst case, because how can you enter a long-term relationship if you don't know that in the worst case, you would be fine by yourself and you could provide and build again and have more. Now you can relax, and now you can be present with the girl. So the knowingness that in the worst case, I mean, it may take you 24, 48 hours or less, depending on where you live, your level of skills, and so on. But you can provide. If your life depended on it, so get a woman now. And get a good one. You could do that. And then I like to have a lineup, because no woman has been able to meet all my needs. So I create a lineup. And for example, my parents were visiting. We went through a very challenging time. Everything is okay. So I felt like I need a little bit of a connection. Okay. So there's a girl. I have that girl. She's perfect for that. I know I'm going to feel the connection with her and so on. So boom, I can bring that girl. Now, after 2 days or 1 day of having her around, she's starting to cause delays and distractions for me. So, and then night goes by and I feel like, you know what? I want to fuck. I really want to fuck. So then I know there's that girl. I go, I want to fuck you. Oh, yeah? No, I want to fuck you. And we won't need a conversation, a meal, or anything. Okay, you're going to wear this and that. I'm at your place in 15 minutes. Oh my God, that's so kinky. Let's do it. And then maybe the following day, I don't even need any physical touch. I just need a person whose presence is going to make me feel that my experience is enhanced, that they're going to state something, teach me something. Okay? So I create lineup of women like that, and when I need, I can reach. And then, of course, to be of greater service, I know that none of those lineups are going to last forever. Some will come, some will go. It's never necessarily the one I predicted. They're going to take me, they're going to force me to grow. Women force me to grow. And then the final ingredient in that understanding, that model, is the fact that you got to make that distinction for anybody who wants a lineup like that. It's going to fluctuate. So if I today have 5 girls in my life, I could be the guy who goes, yeah, I got 5 girls. I don't need to study anymore. Today I have 1 girl in my life because I've practiced it all. I've practiced abstinence. I challenged myself. And 1 year at the porn convention, I was within my 6th month of my promise to myself that I would practice abstinence. So if anybody was to say, what I want is abstinence, I would be able to say, here's how you do abstinence. We're having porn stars coming and go, oh, Vince, I didn't know you'd be here this year. You want to spend time together? I'd be like, yes, we can talk, but I'm doing something very unique, abstinence, which drives them crazy. So I practice also being, when I first met Arash with my 5th wife, I decided for all the time that I had been promiscuous and so on, I wanted to practice, have chops and knowledge of, okay, this is one man being with just one woman, despite the fact that it was pickup. Okay, I was able to do that as well. So, but I got to know that whatever you have right now, if you don't plan the next step, there's going to be a gap in between. So it brings breath, it forces me to grow and make more distinctions. And it's an interesting model. And I don't know where the model will take me next season. Sorry about that.
Before I have to teach in 10 minutes down the street. So I would love to continue this another day, Cliff, if it's time. But I have to wrap it up. So if you want to ask me wrap up or we wrap it up, however, but I have to fly in a second, literally.
Okay, because I did have a big question I was coming to, and actually,
ask it. If I can't answer it in a paragraph, it's not worth my answer. My answer is not worth it.
well, basically, I was going to say, like, you know, I wanted to come at a different angle for the multiple women question, which I was going to, I wanted to get into, and that is, let's say you get a student who comes to see you and he's in a relationship. Now, for whatever reason, he's set the relationship the way he said it. Now, he realizes that he wants to open that relationship up, and you know, a lot of times, you know, the frame has been set, and it's a very challenging thing for most guys to take that from where it is to now, you know, having something approaching what you have, Arash, or even Vince, you know, like that you are able to have other women in your life, not just the primary relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious how you might deal with something like that. Is that a salvageable situation?
Yes, I have an answer. But before I answer it, is it acceptable that I answer it and I leave? Is that okay? And I end my part?
Okay. Could we maybe, you know, I'll have this all edited, but can we like maybe continue this another time and just sort of finish up the rest?
Vince, you want to do another one?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so I'll end it now and I'll answer your question next time.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You know, like,
thank you guys. I'm so sorry to be rude. I just looked at the clock, but I have to go. Okay, and I'm ready to go, Cliff. Like within 24 hours or 12 hours, even in 6 hours, I'm ready to do this. So you just let me know through Vince. Vince can text me and we'll make it happen.
All right. If you want to just give me a time, we can coordinate the next thing. You want to do this maybe early next week or something? Is that better for you?
Coordinate it because I'm going to be, you know, respect to him first. So whatever, work it out with him, then he'll work it out with me. Okay,
all right, no problem. Sounds good.
Thank you, Cliff.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.
Cliff,
All right.
I have an answer there of a very short one, and while it's on the mind,
Sure.
for my part of it. So the question for the guy who is with one girl and wants to suddenly, you know, expand that, but the frame was already set. Again, I stated a moment ago that you cannot fix falseness. So right there, the challenge and the struggle resides elsewhere. The frame that was set prior that needs to change is not in relationship with the woman. It's the fact that the guy fears that if he does it the wrong way or a certain way, he may lose the woman. And because of that, he's overly conservative in it, and he comes across as if there is something wrong with it. That is why, we go back to the core, and that's the thing you constantly improve, no matter how good you have become, or if you just begun, you need to be more free. It's the fear of loss that causes us to have less. And loss is an illusion. And even if it is a possibility and the girl goes like, hell no, I cannot believe that, and she's out of the door that day, you got to go back to knowing you can provide for yourself. And in a different context, because I also coach guys in business and so on, there's a gentleman who's struggling with his current position in his job. And we notice that every time that he remembers that he could get another job, an opportunity comes around, and even if he doesn't take it, it happened a couple of times during the past couple of weeks, he's able to relax in the current situation and everything works out fine. So the knowingness is what gives us, and I cannot speak for Arash, but I know him well enough to know that that component is there. It's what gives us the edge in being able to communicate whatever with women. And then you also got to realize that a lot will happen, but at the same time, you have much more leeway to, in the worst case, work it out. Sometimes you don't want to work it out. Sometimes you need to shut the door on a certain situation or woman and so on. But if you wish to work it out, society, entertainment, culture have trained us into just those two silly options. Okay? How many music songs were written in, hey, we had a fight yesterday, but I'm sure we can work it out. And if I use just the right mindset and pick up skills, she'll be back before I know it. So I'm free tonight and I'll fuck her tomorrow. No, songs don't say that. So why did you leave? She left, broken heart. If we surgically remove a heart and take a hammer, it'd be very, very big. We could damage it further, but we could not break it like the little symbol split apart like that. So you got to relax, because you got to realize it's not us. It's not us, man. It's the frames that need to evolve, that we're still bound into, and we want to do pickup, and we think we're doing pickup, but we're still prisoners of those old frames that don't make you realize that you can always utilize. So I'm conducting the craziest, silliest experiment, okay? And I'm not suggesting you guys do that. One thing you got to realize is that we're here to serve, and we stretch the envelope, and we're going to conduct tests to be able to produce greater results for you guys that are not necessarily saying do the same thing. But there is a girl that, and I'm sure if some of you guys, you heard prior interviews or some of my program, we're at 78 times of it appears desperate because of my comportment in it, and we end up back together. So it's a silly point that I'm proving through this experiment that, gentlemen, relax and know the dynamic. The problem in that situation, and that's the last thing I say, is that the guy is in this current situation and he has a vision of the next level, and he wants it to happen perfectly in one shot. And he knows that it's probably not going to happen, so he doesn't know. But the better way to do it is to know that it is highly possible, that there's a technique I teach in which you raise the bar and then you provide pleasure. You raise the bar and you provide pleasure. The secret to raise the bar with girls is they will comply when they know they have zero other options. Zero other options. So, sorry, that is my signal on my side. It's my next climb. Bear with me. Phil, if you give me maybe 5 minutes. I'll meet you on Skype. Okay? I'm finishing the interview. Thank you so much, Phil. Bye-bye. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Cliff?
Well, that's good. I think we got a lot of great information on this discussion. I think it went pretty well. I don't know how you felt. I think it was full of energy and was really great. And
Yeah, very, very good. As always, I really appreciate that there's two things. There's a lot of guys who do interview, but in the end, they voice more than us. So your interviews are true interviews. I just really respect that because I've often been in position. Sometimes the dialogue is wonderful, but where the and then the quality of your questions. So you know. And I got a lot of feedback from the other ones. I got a lot of guys email me, say, "Hey, I heard you got in a Arash on Cliff's list," and so on. Happy to push it. Also, I feel Arash is inclined to do it as soon as possible. I have a girl coming over tonight, so she might be a distraction, but she could be open. What would be the next nearest time for you, Cliff? So we don't drag it in case something happens and it can be released.
well, for me, see, tomorrow night is not good, and Saturday night is not good. But I mean, I can do it earlier in the day on Saturday. I can do it anytime on Sunday. I can do it Monday night. I mean, I'm pretty free the next few days. It's just that Friday night I'm tied up, and Saturday night I'm tied up.
I understand. And let me see. Okay, I'll run that by Arash and we get right back to you. Okay, Cliff?
There, sounds great. Okay, perfect. Anyway,
Very good.
great talking to you, and I'm looking forward to finishing this one. It was a really
Yeah,
good.
me too. And the sooner we release it, there's that thing. I'm sure you have the same. Yeah, it's easier for me to push while it's still fresh.
Sure, of course. Okay, great. All right, look, have a good evening, and we'll be talking again soon.
Great. Do I need to click anything on my side?
No,
No. Okay.
nothing at all. Don't
All
worry
right.
about it. Okay, take
Thank
care.
you, Cliff. Bye bye.
Bye bye.